Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to, where am I?
Rasant Products.
Rasant Products. I'm being silly, guys. You know. Of course I'm a Rasant. I'm in beautiful Long Beach, and it's so nice and just cool here, unlike Ontario, which is really warm. But I have a very good friend next to me. Andrew is the proprietor, esteemed proprietor of this wonderful establishment. I met him years ago. He used to work at Karma. I knew him when he worked there, which is great. I'm close to you in near Orange County, pretty much. It's Orange County.
South LA.
South LA. So we're very close to Orange County. So, Andrew, why don't you tell us about where we are? Where is this?
All right,
what are we about here?
We're in Long Beach, and we do automotive for Porsches. So Porsche aftermarket. So
Porsche aftermarket?
you can hear our machine beeping in the background there, and that's
nice cars back there.
So we do air-cooled Porsche engine management systems and individual throttle bodies.
Nice. And you guys know I'm a big advocate of ITBs. I love individual throttle bodies. He has his own designs. I don't know. Do you have a sample prototype you can show us?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me grab something.
So he's going to grab something in the meantime. Hello. Oh, thank you so much for the kind words. Excellent. Yes, I love the shirt too. Thank you so much. Hector's asking, is Pure better than Amazon? Absolutely. Hello, Shell. Good seeing you. And not only does it have a much better base compound, the additive package is amazing. So compared to the oil you mentioned, with Purol, I've seen a lot more stable, shear stability, chemical resilience, and also heat resilience. And on the dyno, a little bit more power, which is great as well. So if you haven't tried it, try it. You will love it indeed, you know? Desert Inc. is asking, has RW ever come to my shop? Yes, we have, and it's totally my fault. My fault indeed. We have built 6 RWB cards on the Kai, which is great, you know? So thank you so much. So, that being said, Andrew is back with his beautiful, that's gorgeous.
I've got some goodies here. So this is what we're machining right now.
Okay.
So he's doing this first operation.
So he's machining this in-house, which is great. He's doing this in-house right now. Hello, Shell. Good seeing you indeed. Yes, we do offer Veloster R-Spec tuning. We do indeed. That's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that.
Thank you. And here's a full assembly.
Wow,
so
finished
all
product.
All of the pieces, put together
And am I looking at dual fuel rails?
So one of them is actually idle air. So the smaller one here
very nice.
I said connected in with an electronic
very
idle air
nice,
control.
very nice. Look at that, guys. It's beautiful. It is a work of art. You know it's Omar. Well, thank you so much. When is the Turbo ITB Platinum coming, Andrew, as Signature 911?
Oh, we're working on it, Jason.
Oh, you know what it is. 5 axis, absolutely. Ooh, says Starter Rhythm. Thank you so much. Now, we did have a question come up on my feed this morning when I announced I was coming here.
Okay.
An individual asked, how important is it for us to come up with products for the air-cooled market that are carb legal? Is there a market for that, and how important is it?
I know, it's a good question. It's something we definitely debate, versus keeping it off-road only components. The challenge is just how limiting they'd be on cam specs, and it'd be just like a slight bump from CIS. So it takes away some of the fun of the modifying, So yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a challenge and quite expensive, quite cost prohibitive to allow things to become, approved by the California Air Resource Board. It's quite involved. But is it an opportunity maybe to keep things smug legal? Would they be that much fun, much more power? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that there's another portion of that is all the variants. There's the 3-liter and early port,
understood,
port, and these are all different carb tests.
Yes.
Carb verification. So
I feel nervous holding this. It's so beautiful, Oh yeah, Gina says he does work at Haas.
Nice.
And Parsons is asking how we're doing. We're great. Corvo says, I have a guest. Yes, I do. So forgive me, Andrew. Please introduce yourself again.
That's okay.
Because some guys missed it. Please share who you are.
Yep, I'm Andrew with Rasant Products. So we're doing aftermarket Porsche engine and engine management system.
So, Rod Motorsport asked a good question, which both you and I could probably answer. What is your thoughts on dimpling, porting, and polishing on ports on intake? Have you done experimentation with that, with dimpling, like golf ball dimpling on intake ports?
I haven't, no.
So, Rod, I've been fortunate enough where I did do quite a bit of that in my drag racing days, and there are huge benefits on that. So here's what happens. Especially with the older type injectors we had back in the day, where the spray pattern atomization wasn't very nice, the fuel tends to have a propensity to adhere to the walls of the port. What I've noticed is when you do put a dimpling capability, similar to what you may see on golf balls, the fluid could hit that and reintroduce itself into the suspension of air. So I don't see much wall wetting. I don't have to do crazy things, especially with stage injection. And I do see some power because of it. So that being said, it's an advantage. It's a very challenging, painstaking task to explore, but it can be great indeed, you know? How far from my shop in Ontario are you, he's asking.
You're in Ontario, right?
Yeah.
So it was,
How far?
oh, from your shop
from
in
here
Ontario.
to here.
So what was it today? Like an hour?
Hour.
An hour?
So it's about an hour drive, and I was misbehaving. I didn't drive a Porsche today.
Oh.
I brought a Veloster N, which I'm getting data on, which is great. Eddie's laughing at us, which is pretty funny. Blue Porsche, is that a twin turbo? You're asking right there. Is that a twin turbo?
You know, it's a turbo look car, so it's a wide fender flare, but it'll stay a 3.8 NA.
Oh, so it's going to be natural aspirated, which I love. That car actually looks very familiar.
You know that car?
Yeah, it
right?
kind of housed it for a few years, which is
You might have,
interesting.
yeah.
You know. Do you guys do tune ECUs, or do I need a third-party program? Is what he's asking.
We do for all the Porsche air-cooled cars.
So do you use a factory ECM, or do you do aftermarket standalone?
So it's always aftermarket.
Okay, so standalone is what he prefers, and I prefer that too because it allows us to do a lot more with fail-safes.
For sure.
It allows us to do a lot more with flexibility. It allows us to, and some of these cars are really old. I'm not a huge advocate of the older harnesses. They tend to get old and brittle.
Right.
It's good to lay in something that's middle spec, like what you do, that's beautiful and new and fantastic, and that's what we should do, you know? So Warrior Fella says we should protect ourselves. Yes, we did check before we got together. So he's probably, did you check? Because I did. I hope he's okay.
I'm good.
He's good. Sorry for Bisimoto. It's my Veloster, says R spec. Send me a DM here and hopefully I can help you with that indeed, you know? Have any of you touched 3D printing for your builds or certain car parts?
We've had some of our like prototype parts 3D printed.
Yes.
It's nice. It's just a quick turnaround, low cost, and you can verify like geometry of a new design part. So that's how we utilize it the most. How about you?
I use it a lot. I have a Flash Forge unit in my own office that no one touches, and I use exclusively. I sent you a design recently. I validated it first by 3D printing it and fitting it before I sent it to you.
Yeah.
So I don't have the advantage of having this beautiful 5-axis in my facility yet. So what I've done is, and I do this, I tend to partner with companies. If it's something I can do in-house, I tend to partner with companies that can do a good job. So just like wiring, with some of my cars, I partner with him and had him execute that for me. And so some of my parts, 3D parts, I'm going to give him a whirl as well and see what he can do to help me out, which is great. So I use 3D printing a lot in validation in my facility. Sometimes, if it's a part that doesn't need to be exposed to a lot of heat and a lot of stressors, I will actually put the part in service to test it in the real world and see what happens, you know? Have it here, you know? Andrew, which Porsche do you like for a budget, mild track build?
You know, I think there's a lot of good value in like the mid 70s, like the early impact bumper cars. It's still a great chassis, and in many cases it's coming with an upgraded engine.
Yes.
At least at this time, it's not as
cost prohibitive,
cost prohibitive and all original numbers matching importance. So I think that those will make a really good like entryway into the air cooled and that classic chassis feel.
Yeah, AJ. So he mentioned mid 70s 911, impact bumper style. Can not too crazy and can do quite well for you. I know he was looking at. I think AJ last time we spoke was trying to decide between either a GT3, a newer water cooled setup, or something old school where he can kind of make his own.
Yeah.
So, but he's hardcore on tracking. Andrew, do you have stuff for the 944? Asked Ricky.
Not yet, Ricky. We'd like to. We talked to a local guy about doing a setup, but it hasn't happened yet.
Not quite yet. Ricky, I'm trying to convert you to the EV stuff. What are you doing here? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, where are you from, buddy? I'm from Nigeria, but my facility is in Ontario. Are you originally from Southern California?
I'm from Minnesota, actually. So
I remember that.
Yeah.
He's from Minnesota, but now he's in beautiful Long Beach. So that's it.
Back.
Have you ever worked on a 959? I haven't. Have you?
A 959? Yeah. No, I'd love to.
That'd be an honor. Yeah. Never had the opportunity. That's my jam, says Signature 911. Good job. Hello, I finally cut my hair. Interesting screen name, but thank you for joining us nonetheless. I'm here at Rasant Products in Long Beach, California. He does wonderful things with 911s. He's dabbled a little bit with water-cooled stuff, but his primary focus is on air-cooled, beautiful vehicles. And just like myself, he loves infusing modern technology into these classic, beautiful old chassis, which is great, Best advice I received in racing was, when start, buy something you don't mind smashing because it will happen. Well, then I'm in big trouble then, because I buy a whole lot of crazy things I shouldn't. 5-axis parts. AJ.
Oh, he wants to see some parts.
Oh, some parts. Okay, no worries. I was going to ask him to elaborate, but Andrew got better than me. There you go.
There's the first operation of the 5-axis. Beautiful billet. And And here's a final assembly.
Beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous. It has that nice old school feel to it, but it's beautiful. It's just entrenched in modern tech, which is great, you know? Do you have, let's see, does Honda FRM liners present any issues with regards to performance? No issues unless you start pushing the boundaries of pressure in the cylinders. So what I mean by that is, you see some of the FRM liners that typically exist in the H23s, some of the S3000s, some of the H22s. They're fine and dandy because it allows for an interface where the rings don't, we'll do an analysis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And those liners allow for a great opportunity for sealing and not much friction, because we see so much power loss or energy being absorbed by the friction of the rings of the cylinder, right? So other seal, nickel seal, even FRM allows for the opportunity. And it's, believe it or not, pretty cost effective for the manufacturers, because they don't have to invest heavily in impregnating steel liners into aluminum housings. However, when you start pushing the boundaries of boosting 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 PSI, they don't fare very well, because once again, the liners are steel, aluminum, and they tend to fracture. I've fractured Porsche ones, I've fractured Honda ones, and the only way around that for me is to somehow impregnate ductile iron sleeves. So I hope that helps. Hello SB Machine, good seeing you. Do you have a main rod bearing tolerance recommendation for the use of 0W20? I do, but it has a lot to do with the oil pumps. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
No, I'm curious on your thoughts.
I exist in the teens, the low teens. I've gone as far as 8/10 to the low teens and 12s, 13s, but my pump has to have the capability. So I tend to stick with oil pumps in the genre where that is allowed and supported. If you have an oil pump design that is primarily utilized in 5W30, 10W40 assemblies, I would use that. But if you have some of the newer ones with tighter tolerances, or you have an aftermarket dry sump pump that allows you to use that, by all means. The tight tolerances are the way. I tend to rate my oil use based upon my bearing tolerances.
Okay.
And when I go much looser, of course, I use much thicker oil because I want that boundary layer to exist to prevent metal-to-metal contact. Right. And it's hard to break that hydrodynamic wedge, but you do want to obey and respect the oil clearance opportunities there. What do you think of high horsepower Cayman race cars versus the 911 variants?
You know, I have yet to drive a high horsepower Cayman, so
Ooh.
if somebody has one,
we may have to change that.
Yeah.
He wants to drive a high horsepower Cayman, and I can tell from my experience, there's something to be said about the balance of the engine. It's very forgiving, it handles very well, and when you combine that balance and improved suspension, I should say, because the suspension I noticed on the Caymans aren't as robust, aren't as appealing as the 911. If you can combine the better suspension and the mid-engine layout with the 911 power, it's game over for the 911. It really is. So it's very little wonder that Porsche, as a manufacturer, didn't give the Cayman, with the exception of the GT4, didn't give the standard Cayman the power and the poise of 911, because it would be a 911 killer, dare I say.
Thank you.
Is Andrew, a semi Porsche purist? He's opposed to case swapping of Porsche. I'm gonna go lay down over here and have him. Go ahead. So why don't you share? Are you a purist?
Yeah, you know, in some ways I am. I certainly appreciate what you did with the 935. You know, I'll be the first to say it was a great build. And, you know, to me, the flat six has so much character though, and it's the sounds it makes. It's how it pulls through the rev range, and it's hard for me to see him go in these cars. So I'm definitely, you know, a big proponent of keeping with that classic air-cooled build.
Understood. So I guess you are opposed to case swapping of Porsche.
Yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice.
Okay. Are you opposed to water-cooled flat six in these chassis? That's my question now.
I think it's interesting. I mean, if you can make a case, you know, I think the weight addition is tough. You know, it's great to keep a light chassis, and but hey, that's a really good way to get horsepower.
It is a good way. Now, I appreciate, just like Andrew, I do appreciate the air-cooled mills. I really do. I'm just not a fan of the older technology. I'm just not. I'm not a fan of the 2-valve per cylinder. I feel there's a lot of opportunity there. I like really impregnating the water-cooled newer power plants. I love putting newer Metzgers in there. My wife and I were talking about recently maybe building something with PDK, flat six. Just, you know, I just like But I like how they look at, look at, so right behind Andrew here is his vehicle. Guys, you look at it like, oh, what a gorgeous long nose, right? Or long hood, whatever you want to call it. But it didn't look like this when I met him. It didn't look anything like this. It had these impact bumpers. It looked like a standard old school G body. It looked like it to me, like a red G body. And look what he did. Because it's gorgeous. So it's so beautiful. And I like the fact that he put you know what? People give me so much crap about like changing. He put a beautiful Motec dash. He still has Motec dash.
Yeah, it does. Right.
He has a beautiful digital dash. It's gorgeous. So he tastefully put in modern elements into this gorgeous car, backdated to make it even more classic. He has a 911R hinges in the rear where the decklet comes up completely like there's a full 180. He did a great job with this car. It's gorgeous. But it's also entrenched in modern technology, and to the untrained eye, they look, oh, that looks cool, but the more you look, the more you see, which is great. Mm-hmm. I like to take that even further. Like I'm power crazy. It's disgusting. So I'm crazy about power. So I lean far left when it comes to what Andrew's doing, but it's good. It's good. But that's a great question, right? But no case. I'm not for case one. Yeah, as much as I love, I'm kind of not my thing. You know.
That's a video we need to do. We got to work on that.
Absolutely. Ron Motorsport, I didn't know you had all that knowledge on Weber carbs. So cool. BC, is that something you don't know? Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't know. A lot. And as many of my close friends and my family can attest to, I like to go to sleep every day learning something that I didn't know the morning waking up. So I'm constantly trying to learn. And even when I got into my first EV build, I didn't just blindly start looking at forums or reading stuff or going through rubbish on YouTube. I actually came to experts, individuals who work in that field, and they point me in the right direction. So yes, I'm constantly learning, and yes, I appreciate the kind words. But the best is yet to come. Thoughts on the Harmony EV? Thoughts on the Harmony EV?
It's interesting. I'd love to drive one.
Yeah, me too. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's the right direction for GM, especially in a division that was halted for a while, and a division that was known to be just gas guzzling. That's just horrible with emissions and horrible with fuel consumption. So I think that's a great direction for GM, for General Motors. Absolutely. What is the best standalone ECU in the market? You guys trying to get in trouble here. I don't know. I kind of know what he's going to say, but what is the best?
That's a really good question. I'm sure you could find somebody to say something bad about any ECU.
That's
right?
true.
You know, the top of the line ECU we offer is the M130. So that's Motec's flagship. It's been really, really reliable for us. It's very packed with features. It's great that they have customizable firmware. Right. And I know that's something that companies like Bosch Motorsport offer as well, but I think the price package and your individual support, will vary with some of that. So it's more OEM or race team focused. So.
And he's correct. I do, as you guys know, I'm very partial to the AM Infinity setup, but it doesn't allow me to customize firmware. So if I have, let's say, a Dodge Viper, and I'm trying to implement an Infinity into a Dodge Viper, and let's say 5th gen, I cannot mimic what factory did with controls on the steering wheel. I just can't do any of that. While with Motec, you can write the firmware for it and have all the fun you want. So, but I just like the fact that Infinity does offer me really like a motorsports level convenience at the prices of a sportsman, which is pretty cool, you know? Lucas Weinsberg, which is a good question. You probably like this. How can you make a turbo build more reliable for racing?
Well, I think the whole point about fail-safes is a great one.
Yes, good.
With the ECU is impressive, right? And there's a mechanical portion of that too, right? As far as compression ratio, your cam selection, and at least in these air-cooled engines, you can't just blast them with high boost and high compression. So it has to be a whole system.
Andrew hit all the proper. He actually checked all the boxes properly. You have to have a solid foundation. So I'm inundated, especially in the sport compact world. I'm inundated with people who just want to use a factory setup and just throw everything they can at it. That's just a recipe for disaster. I reluctantly do some of those. I'm very conservative with those tunes. I have very little ignition timing. I have a lot of rich mixtures going in there, and I already know that because we design these components, and we know even if you just took a standard factory rod and put it through an FEA analysis, you can see all these stretches rise. It's scary.
Right.
A lot of these engines were built to handle 30 horsepower per cylinder, and we're trying to do 150, 200 per cylinder. It's madness. So, as Andrew mentioned, the basis has to be strong first. Solid foundation, and the rest will follow, which is great. So that being said, couple that with engine management solutions that are very robust and allow for fail-safes, that can increase your reliability significantly, Your question, I respect, I already answered that. What is the both of you guys, dream Porsche, unlimited budget, what would it be?
We're talking just a new off the line Porsche?
He said budget, he said builds.
Builds.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would it be?
Yeah, it's a little cliche, I guess. But I think the 918 would be.
Oh,
amazing.
you know,
I'm sorry, BZ. Took the easy one.
Yeah, you did. You did.
But what you
Okay.
do with that car?
He said 918. Okay. What would I do? Unlimited budget? 62 918 because I was going to do that. But let's say a custom Kremer K4 fully streetable.
Wow, I like it.
That's what I'd do.
Nice.
That would be me. But streetable, not a full track one, but or some crazy low. Ooh, a 908. No. I'll stick with my K4. K4. That'd be cool. Unlimited budget. I will check my budget, Lucas. Thank you indeed. Is Kizer the only option for F22A ITBs? No, Ed. You could do some clever things. You could have a custom manifold made and use Borla ITBs on it. You could modify even the standard Borla for the H22. You could reach out to the guys from, they're in England. I met, the owner's name is Michael. Oh my God, what's the company in England? Single used to use it for ITBs back in the day. Genvi, yes, you can use Genvi stuff as well. Use Genvi as well, by all means, you know? But you know, use electric motor assisted turbos to prevent lag versus traditional retarding, timing, and anti. Those are three different things, sir. So electric assisted turbos have advantages, and still you have to retard timing. Anytime you do, okay, you remember when in school, right? And we addressed Charles' law. But whenever you compress a gas, what happens to the temperature?
It's increasing.
Yes, so no matter what, even with electric turbos, we're compressing the gas in the combustion chamber, the temperature is going to go up, and we don't need as much ignition advance to ignite it properly. So we still have to retard. So the fact that it's electrically assisted, or that the turbos, there's no correlation there. And anti-lag, yes, it could give us opportunity to do less, if not do away. But the cool thing about anti-lag, think about it, is, as the name implies, it allows us to eat our cake somehow and have it too. We can run a larger turbo to give us more top end power, but have the anti-lag capability so we don't have that weird delay in response and all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for loving him and other hearts, because I get scared every time I bring an engineer on because you guys kind of freak out. So thank you so much. But Lisa will be coming back here again because you guys enjoyed it. I will do a quick walk around his facility in a moment, so I'll jump out for Instagram, cut me out, I'll jump back in, and hopefully you can join me. Talk to you soon, guys. Take care.